Good evening, everyone. It is the October 7th, 2025 meeting of the Gallatin City Council. We're calling it to order right at 6 p.m. Each of our meetings, we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer. This evening, Councilman Alexander will offer the invocation, and Councilman Fennell will lead us in the pledge. I'd invite you to stand with me, please.
Thank you, Father, for the opportunity to be in this room tonight. Lord, your word says that unless you build the house, we labor in vain. And so, Lord, we invite you into this meeting to guide us, give us wisdom, understanding. And we thank you for the privilege of meeting together and having dialogue and discourse in this incredible nation that we live in. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please place the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Lyons, would you call the roll for us, please?
Yes, I will, Mayor. Thank you. Vice Mayor Hayes is absent. Councilman Alexander.
Present.
Give me just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't hear up here. Thank you.
Councilman Alexander.
Present.
Councilman Carter.
Present.
Councilman Fan.
Here.
Councilman Fennell.
Here.
Councilman Jones.
Here.
And Councilman Javance. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. This evening, you have the minutes from the September 16th, 2025 meeting for your consideration for approval.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Fennell.
Second.
Second by Councilman Fan. Are there any requests for additions, subtractions, or corrections? Seeing no one, all in favor of approving the September 16th, 2025 council minutes, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. One person voted for it, no one voted against it. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. The minutes are unanimously approved. We'll now move to public recognition on agenda-related items. This is the time of the meeting where the public is invited to come forward and speak to any item that is on the evening's agenda. There's also a period of time at the end of the meeting where you can speak to anything that's not on the agenda. We ask for your name and your address for the record, and I think that's it. Just be respectful, and we'll try to be respectful too. So thank you all, and with that, public recognition is now open.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor Brown, City Council members and staff. My name is Vicki Hendrick, 560 Peach Valley Road and 1145 Lot 4 Road. Yesterday, I was driving towards Nashville Pike on Lot 4, and city workers across from Aqua Drive were working on the turning lane. I also heard that the roundabouts were coming soon, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard something about eminent domain was going to be part of the obtaining property for those. I know you can't respond, but I wonder if you guys have any idea how heartbroken residents of Gallatin are. And yes, that is for my area at Lot 4 and Peach Valley and the lake accesses. I'm going to say something, and I'm not saying this to be disrespectful. Mayor Brown, I just had a pleasant conversation with you.
May I just remind you that this is for the agenda-related items, so I'm not...
I think that this is on the agenda, isn't it, for the Lot 4? Aren't you going to sign something for the Lot 4?
Oh, okay. For the infrastructure piece, okay. That's fine, I'm sorry.
you
No,
want me to
you are
back up?
fine. You are fine.
I'm not saying anything to hurt anyone or be disrespectful, but many residents in Gallatin, especially the ones I've talked to around Peach Valley and Lot 4 Road, have voiced their concerns and are so ready for the terms to be up on certain council members and elections to go forward. We just don't feel like there's a lot of transparency. When you make deals like with D.R. Horton to reimburse the city for doing road work, we don't have anything to see that we taxpayers get our money back, no kinds of receipts or anything like that. It would be nice if that was presented, and some form to the residents of Gallatin, because not everyone comes to the meetings and not everyone watches the meetings. So they're not aware of everything that's going on. I think that would alleviate a lot of problems if we could see more stuff that you're being presented and taxpayers are being reimbursed for it. I understand that, you know, change is inevitable. That's just part of life. But yesterday I was riding down Nashville Pike and I looked over across from Lowe's and all that massive building, and it just broke my heart because I thought 386 is a pain coming home in the afternoon. And now Nashville Pike is going to be the same. I read a recent article in the paper questioning the city engineer about developments and what posed the most problems in terms of infrastructure. And his answer was the developers studied the impacts on transportation and stormwater systems, but most residents don't feel like the developers come out and talk to the citizens to see where the impacts on them and their daily lives, property values, and time it's going to take to get from point A to point B. Gallatin as a whole has seen increase in crime, stretching our police department and fire department to provide for us. And just a few months ago, I know you're all aware, there was a shooting out at Lock 4 at the last access at the park, motorcycle wreck out there from speeding, and then a lockdown at Sumner Academy due to cars shooting out of the windows driving around out there. The city engineer also commented about he'd lived here all his life and understood people longing for the way things used to be. And that's not possible or healthy. I suggest you go to like towns like Franklin, Kentucky, where my aunt lives. It's still small and quaint. It's not built up everywhere, and I don't hear a lot of moaning and complaining at city council meetings. But anyway, he also said the infrastructure improvements were funded that will be delivered in 5 to 10 years. Wow, that's a long time for little to no improvements. I've been living on Lot 4 in Peach Valley for 30 plus years, and I've not seen any kind of improvement out there in all that time. And I just think the residents just need to have more transparency all around, because like I said, not all older people can come to meetings and don't watch. I am aware that there's a pending lawsuit against the city for a violation of sunshine law, but it seems like it's full speed ahead on the banks of Lot 4. And anyway, that's just disheartening. Recently, 4 homes were built on Peach Valley, and all the time there are trucks and equipment parked there, and then when you try to go around them and get out on Lot 4, you're going, my time's up? Anyway, you're gonna get ran over. Last thing, I had a couple move here from California as a neighbor, sweet couple. They've got 2 young children. He said to me, Miss Vicki, I left California to get away from this. Here I am with my children and wanting to raise them in a small town, got goats and chickens in my backyard, and all this is going to be touching my property. So, thank you.
Hello and good evening. My name's Jack Lazinski. I live at 1064 Vinings Boulevard here in Gallatin. And I'm strongly in favor of the marina project that you're all voting on tonight. My wife and I moved to the Foxland community almost 2 years ago, specifically because of the country club and future, hopefully, development of the marina. Before we purchased our home in Foxland, we looked all over Gallatin to find lakefront property, and with a slip or one that could possibly be added a slip to. And there were 0 homes in Foxland and 0 homes in Fairview on the lake when we were looking. We did find a couple of homes in the surrounding community, but that could put a slip in or had a slip, but basically these properties were way overpriced and they needed to be tore down just to put a slip in. I attended the Army Corps meeting several months ago, and prior to the meeting I read through all of the documentation and looked at all of the comments that were left online, and I can say that the vast majority of the negative comments were from people who already own property with slips on the lake. And I can understand that they didn't want any other boats on the lake, but for those of us who don't have a slip, this would be a real asset. The opportunity to take a short ride in your car rather than travel very far and pull a boat, or even walk or take a golf cart to this marina would be a real benefit to the citizens of Gallatin, I think. You know, the marinas that are in the area have restaurants that are low class. We've all been to a couple of them. I won't have to name them, but let me comment specifically on the developer in this case. I'm a member, and my wife and I are members at the Grasslands golf course, and this is a first-class property, the Grasslands Club, Tennis and Country Club. If you haven't been there, especially if you're opposed to it, you should take a tour of the facility, because the quality is extremely upscale, very high class, and the developer has managed the facilities. And this one and other developments are full, high quality, and upscale and first class. I urge the council members here to approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Hello, I'm Scott Oldham. I live at 1162 Belvedere Drive here in Gallatin. I'm a lifelong resident of Gallatin, class of 79, and I wanted to speak in favor of the marina also. I was, like I said, I'm a lifelong resident, and the last time a new marina was built in Gallatin was over 70 years ago, and obviously Gallatin has grown tremendously since then. And, you know, not knocking the Gallatin Marina, but it's 70 years old. And they did a nice job with the dry dock, but, you know, they have some limitations there. But I just think, you know, if you look at Gallatin, one of the biggest calling cards of Gallatin is the lake. And, you know, and we need a good new marina, which I think would be very beneficial. It'd be beneficial to all the residents, because what I've seen, it's, you know, going to have restaurants and shops, and I'm sure it would spur other development around, which would be equally like upscale, and it would provide, you know, recreational activities. And the other thing I think it would do would be a win for the city, is it would enhance the tax base, property tax and sales tax coming in. So I think it'd just be a win-win for everyone. So I'd like to support it, and I hope you guys will too. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Paul Strong, 1715 Foxland Boulevard, Gallatin. I've attended a lot of these meetings, and I've heard a lot of things going a lot of different directions. And I would say that I'm not necessarily against the marina, but I think the original intent of a marina was for the community of people who lived in Foxland. And from that standpoint, I think the scale of it would be much more amenable for traffic flow and for the people who live in that area. And it would provide, as that gentleman said, an opportunity to have a slip and not have to haul his boat halfway across the country. So I don't have any problem with that. But I do not believe that this marina is for our community. And I say that because I've lived here for 6 years. I've never heard one person ever come to my door and say, would you be interested in a slip or a restaurant? And in fact, we think so highly of this marina that we'd like to offer you a discount to have a slip because you've already invested in the community. Never heard that once. Nobody's ever come and said, what's your opinion or what do you think? I think that's rather disappointing. Maybe a little short-sighted as well. A couple meetings back, you were given a copy of the contract from the Corps of Engineers. I'm a little disappointed that we're not having a discussion with someone from the Corps of Engineers here to get all the facts out, which is true, which isn't true. I mean, that's what we're all about, is let's have the facts so that we make as good of a decision as we possibly can. And I'm not convinced that that is the purpose of what we're here for. As council members, you've been elected to serve the people. And I don't get the feeling that as people in this community, we're being served as good as we could. And I'm not sure that we're at a point to make a solid, logical, pragmatic decision on is this the right thing to do or not the right thing to do, or is it the right size? Almost every meeting I come to, it's always a different plan, and it's a different positioning. And I don't get that. I mean, if it was my business, I think I would say, don't come back until you have a final plan. Because we're not making a decision based on things that keep changing. And I think we have a right to have that and to have those expectations. The quality of the project, I don't have any issue with that. The size of it, I don't feel comfortable with. And I don't think we're in a position to make a final decision. I don't think we have all the facts. I'd like to have it all fleshed out. You know, a long time ago, it was said, well, you know, Corps of Engineers has the water. We don't have any control over the water. But we have control over the land. I saw the information from the Corps of Engineers that suggested they do have some control over the land. So where's truth and where's not truth in that? How can we make a decision when there's so many open-ended things? That absolutely confounds me. And I guess another thing that is interesting to me is not allowed to replace or fix a bridge on Nashville Pike because it would mess up the water in the lake. But 50 yards away, we can put a marina in and do all kinds of revamping, and it's not a problem. I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I would feel very comfortable if we were making a decision based on facts, not on feelings, not on emotions, not on goodwill. I want a real pragmatic decision. And I have that as an expectation for every one of you who votes. And I hope that's the way it is. But I have not heard all the facts. I've heard positioning, I've heard a lot of thoughts, but I'd like to see facts. And I think we have a right to demand facts to make a decision. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been here before, you know I ask that we not applaud, and the reason is that applause. You may well have deserved it, and I saw someone actually silently applauding. But the rationale is that a lot of applaud, sometimes when people applaud, then they feel like they can boo or they can laugh, and we just want to keep it quiet and respectful, so thank you.
I wanted to speak on item number 1 on the marina project. Do I need to speak now, or can I wait till the agenda item comes up?
No, it's, public comment is just at this point tonight.
Okay, I need
So
to
you're-
speak now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Mayor and council, David Shear, 1029 Albatross Way of Foxton Harbor residents. I'm totally opposed to the Foxton Harbor Marina project. However, with the mayor being close friends with the developer and our local representative, personal friends with the developer, I realize with all the old development being approved, this may be futile. Therefore, I will continue my efforts to provide quality of life improvement recommendations for this poorly designed project. As a prior city engineer and a prior public works director, I do know a little bit about development and infrastructure. I would like you to discuss some amendments. I've actually written a bunch of amendments here, and I'm going to hand a copy of it to you afterwards so that you'll have a time to look at it. And I would like you to discuss those before you take a vote tonight on the project. Amendment number 1, that the materials including empty boat trailers shall be provided with additional parking and not reduce the mandatory parking requirement. This empty boat trailer parking area shall be a single-use area parking and at least 50 feet from Douglas Bend and Foxton Harbor Drives, and be totally screened with a minimum of 10-foot evergreens at time of planting and maintained to remove their unsightly appearance. Amendment number 2, the required safety improvements to Douglas Bend Road shall be constructed prior to the construction of 25% of the marina docks or 25% of the building construction, whichever occurs first. These improvements include the island at the existing launch area driveway and the roundabout at the intersection of Douglas Bend and Foxton Harbor Drive, required so that southbound vehicles can turn around and make a right turn into the launch area. Amendment number 3, the developer shall relocate and not attach docks to the existing parking at the current launch ramp. Amendment number 4, the developer shall provide double containment for fuel storage and fuel lines to make installation better prepared in case of a spill from a tank or line rupture. All sewer lines over water and within 25 foot of the shoreline shall be double walled for maximum safety in case of rupture. The project shall not exceed the current zoning height of 35 feet. Project does not have a height in excess of 35 feet currently approved for the proposed development. The developer shall relocate planned siting of all solid waste containers to a minimum of 75 feet from Foxton Boulevard. Amendment number 7, the developer shall construct restrooms at the existing launch ramp. Amendment number 7, excuse me, I've got 7 already. Number 8, the developer shall limit signage to the ground-mounted non-lighted signage as required by the Corps of Engineers lease language. No neon or fluorescent signage will be allowed. Amendment number 9, the developer shall plant and maintain 15-foot evergreens at time of planting as a screen for the first 100 feet of the intersection of Foxton Harbor and Douglas Bend intersection. Amendment number 10, as any requested changes to final approval of the project shall be noticed directly to residents through a posting of a 3x4 signs ground-mounted at Douglas Bend and Foxton Harbor Drives. This includes requested changes from the Corps of Engineers lease documents. Amendment number 11, the project shall not seek permits to dredge existing water surface materials within the marina lease area without noticing the residents with signage as designated in amendment number 10. Now I'm going to hand you a copy of these amendments, and I would appreciate you talking about it.
Mayor and council members, I'm Chandra Waller, 1029 Albatross Way. I'm against the current proposal of the Foxton Harbor Marina. This proposal is grossly oversized. The deeper we look into this proposal and the more detailed questions that are asked confirms the issues which many residents are concerned about. During previous council meetings, these questions from residents have gone unanswered or glossed over by the majority of the council. Issues such as 1, short-term rentals. Weekend renters don't care if they're loud, dangerous, drunk, and throw their trash everywhere. Number 2, traffic with an F service level. Number 3, the beautiful Foxland entryway is destroyed and replaced with a Walmart-like parking lot. Number 4, unable to safely boat on the lake as a result of 250 additional boats, many likely wake boats. Number 5, increased shoreline erosion. Number 6, loss of public access to the current boat ramp. And number 7, neon lighting turning the area into Nashville's Lower Broadway tourist scene. It is my hope and my expectation that the council will have a substantive discussion of all these concerns tonight and condition the project to address these concerns. Many Gallatin residents are unconcerned with approval of the supersized Foxland Harbor Marina development proposed in an established residential neighborhood. However, I encourage everyone to consider all the recent growth-inducing projects that have been approved by the current city council. Per the city's website, 6 projects are currently before the Planning Commission or the council. 11 projects are approved pending final plans. 49 projects are pending construction, and 34 additional projects are under construction. Combined, they represent many thousands of new homes and commercial uses. Pretty much anything that a developer brings before this council is rubber stamped regardless of the residents' concerns and objections and how the project overburdens existing infrastructure. Current public safety staffing of police and fire cannot possibly handle the ballooning demand. A small group of property owners will benefit materially to the detriment of the general public. At previous meetings, several council members and some of the developers' buddies have spoken about what a great guy Mr. Goodall is and affirm he delivers quality projects. Will he personally commit to building and managing this marina project, or will he just get the project entitled and sell to the highest bidder, regardless of their reputation for building and operating a quality marina? It's well known that the mayor and several council members are friends, even close friends, with Mr. Goodall. The city attorney advised that legally this relationship does not require disclosure or recusal from discussion and voting on the project. However, I ask each of you to consider how you would support or oppose a project brought forward by a friend. I would feel that I needed to support my friend in their endeavors. Perhaps you're different than me and could tell a friend that their project is flawed and you would not support it and in fact may oppose it. Mayor and council members need to consider this conflict and if you can truly be impartial in your deliberations. Friendship may not legally require you to recuse from the decision. However, it certainly has personal, moral, and ethical standards you should consider before voting. Council members, please do what's best for your constituents and require right-sizing, not supersizing of this marina. Everyone should take notice of what's happening in our community and be concerned. We deserve well-considered projects with adequate infrastructure and council members that will actually listen to their residents. This is not just about a supersized marina and a single greedy developer. It's about a city council that approves any and all overdeveloped projects in our neighborhoods. Elect representatives that are ethical, thoughtful, and concerned for what the community and its residents want. Vote for folks who will represent your desires, not that of developers.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Hello, Mayor Hayes, Mayor Brown, and City Council members. First of all, thank you for hearing our concerns. My name is Jennifer Dallas, and I live at 204 Douglas Bend Road. I'd like to propose delaying the vote until Mr. Hayes has had the opportunity to hear directly from his constituents. That's all.
If there's anyone else that wishes to speak, now is your time.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Tom Lee. I'm a partner in the Nashville office of the law firm of Nelson Mullins, Riley, and Scarborough. I want to say two things. First, there's been some conversation already this evening about confusion with respect to the Corps of Engineers' authority in this project, and there should be confusion. The Corps has confused the matter. The reality is the development plan of this lease speaks to land that is principally off of Corps property. I know what the Corps says in its letter, that it's only concerned with Corps property, but that's not what the development plan says. And all you have to do is read the development plan. This Exhibit C that we provided last week. That is the reality. We're well aware of what the words say. But the reality is the development plan is something else altogether. Now, conceptual or no, a development plan either governs what it says it does or it does not. And there is confusion about that, but there's no confusion about this. And on this, I think everybody agrees. It's in the Corps letter that went to the council this week. Any deviation from the plan requires approval from the real estate contracting officer. Now let's talk about that plan, because members have said, and rightly so, folks in the community, that the plan changes every week. Indeed, it does. And frankly, this process, and this is not a particular concern about any of the persons who are here, but the process itself is what the gentleman said a moment ago. One side says they want this, and the other side says they want that, and you struggle for facts. So let's talk about a couple of facts about two issues that have concerned this council: traffic and short-term rentals. First of all, let's talk about traffic. When the developer submitted his plan to you all, the developer said in the traffic study that it submitted, no changes are made. No changes need be made to accommodate this plan. That's what it said. And city planners, to their credit, said, that's not true. In fact, they gave the plan an F. But then the city came back with a plan that said, here's what we'll do. We'll close off one access point to the only area in and out of the water. Then we'll build a massive roundabout that requires everybody with a truck and a 40-foot boat to actually enter the Foxland subdivision, make a circle around, and then go the other way to make a right turn. And that's a solution. It's not a solution, ladies and gentlemen. That is a way of managing a problem, and not managing it particularly well, because it will ensure years of construction and a lifetime of wasted time if you live in that neighborhood. Let's talk about short-term rentals. No one on this council has expressed support for short-term rentals. There has been some discussion that, well, there's nothing we can do about that. The developer, for his part, is resolute. And in these two multi-purpose buildings in the center of his development, which, by the way, have never been shown before to the Corps of Engineers, in those two buildings, he's proposing about 40 studio and one-bedroom units. I looked at the traffic study, and the traffic study tells us that the restaurant and the retail businesses in these multi-use buildings will generate 1,351 trips per day. That is twice as much as the marina will generate. Twice as much. It's 86% of all the non-marina traffic. Here's your solution. If you will approve this plan, Approve it with this condition, that the two multi-use buildings be removed. What does that do? Well, there go your short-term rentals. That's how you manage your short-term rental problem. And there you solve at least 2/3 of your traffic problem, because 1,351 trips per day will not go down that road. And you can build traffic solutions that fit. You can have the accesses. You can have traffic solutions that work for a neighborhood that has been in existence for a couple of decades. And you can preserve the residential character. How do I know this is a good idea? On July 26, 2023, the mayor wrote the following letter. Mayor, may I quote your letter?
Will of this body.
Motion to keep going quickly.
I'll be quick.
Motion second. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you, Mayor.
Quick.
July 26, 2023, the Foxland Harbor Marina will be a welcomed and needed amenity that will enhance our overall city. It is an exceedingly high-quality project, and I am certain that these owners have the vision, willingness, and commitment to create a marina that surpasses our greatest hopes. When that letter was written 27 months ago, this project had no condominiums, no short-term rentals, no traffic nightmares, no farm-to-table restaurant, and no multi-purpose buildings. If it was good then, it's good now. Thank you for the additional time, Mayor.
Hello, my name is Deborah Maggart, and I live at 112 LeBar Drive in Hendersonville. And I stand before you today not just as a representative of the Friends of Old Hickory Lake, but as a resident of Sumner County, as a political organizer and a steward of the place that we all call home. I'm here to speak on behalf of the hundreds of residents who cherish the character, safety, and natural beauty of our neighborhoods, especially those surrounding Old Hickory Lake and Foxland Harbor. We are deeply concerned about the possible short-term rental expansion and oversized marina development. These projects, while perhaps well-intentioned, threaten to erode the very fabric of our special community. We are not opposed to progress. We are opposed to reckless development that puts profit over people and short-term gain over long-term sustainability. I have a saying about politics: campaigning is easy, but governing is hard. I understand how difficult it is to take a tough vote, especially when pressure mounts from your friends and developers. But leadership is defined not by convenience, but by courage. And the numbers speak for themselves. Nearly 1,800 residents have signed the petition expressing concern about the size of this marina project. You have received over 719 emails from constituents since the end of May, and an overwhelming majority of them have voiced their opposition. Until tonight, only 4 individuals not affiliated with the developer have spoken in favor of this project. And this room has been consistently packed with the Friends of Old Hickory Lake at every meeting since May. We ask you to consider: what kind of legacy do we leave for our future generations? Are we building a city that listens to its residents, or one that sells out our shoreline to its highest bidder? We urge you to vote against these latest proposals. Instead, let's work together to craft a vision for Gallatin that honors our history, protects our environment, and strengthens our sense of community. We are not just asking you for your no vote, we are asking you for your leadership.
Good evening. My name is Lillian Lazinski. Address is 1064 Vinings Boulevard, Gallatin. Just moved here about a little bit over a year ago. I don't know Bob, you're not my best friend, okay? But I have to say, he has been really transparent, open in our community. We're members of the golf course. Very beautiful golf course. I live on the golf course. I witness every morning the maintenance crew maintaining that golf course. I take pride of it because it's well maintained. So when we bought our home, and they had mentioned that a marina was going to get built, I looked at the golf course and it's like, he's done a wonderful job there, the developer. Obviously, the engineers, the Army Corps of Engineers, I've listened to their side of it. I've listened to the side opposing it as well. Honestly, I think change is a big fear factor for a lot of people. And when that fear factor is the unknown, what could happen? I'm sure there's probably, I don't know, I've only been here a year and a half, a fear factor about the golf course. What is it going to do to, the golf course, you can see it from the lake when you're riding your boat. So I'm sure there was some fear factor, or putting slips around the lake for those of people who actually own a home where they slip. So one of the things that I want to say is that I think that as much as they're telling you, and I don't know personally any of you guys, that you guys are going to be biased because you're friends with him, or like I said, he's not my best friend or anything. But I think what he's trying to do is make our community better. Gallatin is a beautiful community. I can see, where people are talking about it being, like an old town. And I can see how people can say, oh, it's growing in big numbers. But the thing is that this change is going to benefit not only us, but also the future generation. And he's not going to, in my opinion, I don't think he's doing something out of greed or harm. I don't think that's his intention. You probably know him, like they said you were friends with him. But I think he's trying to leave here a legacy for all of us. I'm enjoying the community. So I think it's something that should be considered. I think you guys are objectively looking at his proposal. I think he's accommodated by asking the community, what do you think? Should we do this? So if you are noticing these going back and forth, it's because he's opening the conversation. What do you think? Let's have a conversation and make something benefit. So I can understand the traffic as well, but I think there's an open discussion here and an opportunity to make this community even better. It's a beautiful community. I think it's just going to make it better. Thank you very much for your time.
Welcome to Gallatin.
Thank you. I love it.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak this evening?
Hello, everybody. Mike Schulte, 1489 Boardwalk Place, living in Foxland Harbor. Want to clarify one thing. The survey that was done and paid for by our group, that was not, and I repeat, not responded to by multiple people. That was by email address only. You could only do it once. That was for Foxland Harbor HOA. That was for Fairview HOA and Douglas Bend residents. I would also say we do have 1,800 folks now that have signed this petition, and those are single item voters. I've also been told by the president of the Planning Commission, he said, I've never seen a turnout against anything like this development, and he voted against it. The president of the Planning Commission, why would he vote against it? Think about that. Major problem. I want to talk about the Goodall Homes that was sold to Berkshire Hathaway in 2016. Founded by Mr. Goodall Sr., followed up with Mr. Jr. The reports simply say Clayton Homes Berkshire Hathaway subsidiary acquired Goodall Homes for an undisclosed sum. Some commentary notes of Clayton's acquisitions include land, lots, homes under construction, 3,600 lots, 180 homes. Goodall's revenues the prior year were 140 million. 140 million the prior year. Let's talk about the developer's partner, ServPro. ServPro, founded way back when in 1967 by the family. It was bought out by Blackstone, a private equity firm. They sold out too. Guess what? They've gotten in excess of $1 billion for their business, their family business that they sold out. Now, let's talk about Foxland Harbor Golf Course. Well, guess what? The zoning for the golf course, everyone, is multi-use. That means accommodating residential, recreational, commercial developments. This zoning can integrate, they can put a Walmart in there if they wanted to. My point is, this golf course can be turned into anything. These developers will build this and sell this out, and they will be gone. And you know what? I do not see the developers down there pumping gas at the marina, folks. They're going to be down there in their posh homes down in Naples, Florida, enjoying the good life with their billions of dollars that they've made. And there's nothing wrong with making money. I like to make money too. This marina, it's way too large. I've said it 1,000 times, it gets repeated. Let's don't supersize it, let's right-size it. It's going to take 5 years to build. You're going to put this community, I'll be 67 years old. The developer, how old will he be? Is he going to be around here in 5 years to pump gas? I don't think so. Okay, they're going to be gone and they're going to sell this thing. And I want to speak to the realtors making commentaries over the last couple of weeks too. The reason the realtors think it's great is because they're going to sell more homes. They're going to sell more homes. Goodall is their best buddy, right? I'm in the business. I've been in the business all my life. So I just want to close and say these guys are making an investment to sell, to not live, and they can do anything they want with all the objections that have been brought to the table right here at this stand, legally, injunctions, things to come. You guys, there's no way possible you can make a yes vote on this thing. It's just unbelievable. There's too many things up in the air. Thank you.
Came up here really to thank Miss Vicky for appearing first. Hello, council members. My name is Greg Ziles. I'm at 1470 Boardwalk Place in Gallatin, Foxland Harbor. I'll reiterate just a few comments and keep it very short. We completely oppose the ordinance approving the Goodall Foxland Harbor expansion marina proposal. We share this opposition to this project, again, along with hundreds of others who live in Foxland or near this albatross of a proposal. Taxpayers affected by this proposal do not need a circus-sized marina, condos, and parking scope of this project. Who in their right mind would approve of a marina complex adjacent to a residential community? Seriously. Show us the research and documentation in support of something like this anywhere in Tennessee. How many marinas like this have been built in a high-end residential community across the U.S. in the last 5 years? Does anybody know the answer to that? I do. How many turnarounds or roundabouts have been installed in Gallatin so far to handle traffic? How long did it take to construct them? How will you reroute traffic with one lane of egress in and out of the Foxland area and the surrounding community? Have you surveyed or even spoken with other marinas in Gallatin about issues they've had with their marina? How many of the council members were involved in the development of the other Gallatin marina that is underutilized now? The big question for Goodall and this council is who intends to operate this proposed marina? Who has the expertise? Will he hire the expertise? How will we know he's hired the expertise? Does Bob Goodall have expertise as a marina operator? What is his intention long-term after the installation of this marina? My request is this, again, do your job and represent your entire community. Put your thinking hats on. Please don't ruin Foxland Harbor or any more of this city with poor zoning and planning decisions and lack of courage. I have not seen or heard any of you respond with due diligence issues, and this has been required and requested of you in a number of cases with other folks who have spoken at this podium. We don't need to have arrogant responses from some council members looking to accomplish their personal agenda. And I think we know who that might be. Thank you for your time and attention.
Not appropriate. Anyone else wishing to speak? I see no one else indicating they wish to speak. I'm going to close public recognition on agenda-related items and move to mayor's comments. And I'm going to ask that Mr. Brian Rose join me at the podium for a proclamation representing, ironically, planning professionals. On a personal note, it is Community Planning Month, and so this involves all of our development departments. But certainly, I do think it's very important that we recognize the work done by the professionals in our planning departments, because you all take a lot of grief for doing what you're professionally trained to do, and I admire your diligence and your commitment to doing things the right way. And I know it's hard sometimes for people to understand that that's the case, but I've argued with enough of you over the years to know that you are very committed to proper planning, proper engineering, and proper codes. So this says, whereas change is constant and affects all cities, towns, suburbs, counties, boroughs, townships, rural areas, and other places, and whereas planners can help navigate this change with data-driven insights and expertise that provide better choices for how people work and live, and whereas community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningfully involved in making choices that determine the future of their community, and whereas the full benefits of planning require public elected and appointed officials who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation, and whereas the month of October is designated as National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America and its territories, and whereas the American Planning Association endorses National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight how planning is essential to every community and how planners are uniquely positioned to, are uniquely positioned to identify solutions to communities' most difficult housing, transportation, and land use questions. And whereas the celebration of National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of appointed Planning Commission members who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of the city of Gallatin. And whereas we recognize the many valuable contributions made by the professional community planners of the city and extend our heartfelt thanks for the continued commitment to public service by these professionals. Now, therefore, I, Paige Brown, Mayor of the City of Gallatin, do hereby proclaim that the month of October 2025 is Community Planning Month in conjunction with the celebration of National Community Planning Month. Would you like to say anything, Mr. Rose?
Just, we appreciate the opportunity to be public servants for the city, and we do our very best to make this place a very awesome place to live and work and play. And that's our goal. We really want to see the place improve over time and grow and be there for our future generations to come.
Thank you. I was going to say we get to ask her, but Brian will be here, but okay. Thank you. All right, and just a few events to apprise you all of. Tomorrow night, there's a public meeting for Project Phoenix. It's happening here in the council chambers. That's from 6 until 8 p.m. This weekend, very excited, the Rock and Stole event is happening. The rehearsal day, or I guess it's practice would be the proper term, is on Friday. And then they're having the concert that evening with Tyler Hubbard of Florida Georgia Line. That starts at 7. It is a free show. Doors open at 5:30. It'll be at the airport. I think it'll be super cool and a great opportunity to enjoy the airport in a really, really different way. And then the actual competition for STOL, which by the way stands for Short Takeoff and Landing, if you don't know that, is on Saturday from 9 till 5. Also on Saturday is the grand opening and ribbon cutting of the Storybook Trail at Triple Creek Park. That will start at 1333 Touchdown Drive. I've not had a chance to see it yet. Mr. Brown says it's really amazing. I've seen other storybook trails, and our thanks to the Rotary Club for their installation of that, and looking forward to seeing that and cutting that ribbon this weekend. Also this weekend, Miracle League game. Sometimes these fall off the calendar, but I want to tell you that the Miracle League games are some of the best things that you can possibly observe. And if your spirit needs a lift, or if you really want to appreciate the community in which you live, go see the volunteers and the professionals who work together to create an event unlike any other, where every ability is embraced and celebrated, and they enjoy their day playing baseball out at the Miracle Park. Also on Saturday, it's a busy day, second annual Paws and Pumpkins. The Sumner County Animal Services is having their event from 10 till 4. There is a Congressional Medal of Honor luncheon at the American Legion. The Sumner County NAACP banquet is that evening at the Gathering Place. And then on Monday, just a reminder that it is Columbus Day, but the police department will be holding their Santa Claus Classic, raising money for the Shop with the Cop event, and that is at the Foxland Golf Course. They would welcome donations, even if you don't want to play. On the 14th is the Legal Aid Clinic happening at the Civic Center from 4 to 7. On the 15th, American Red Cross Blood Drive, also at the Civic Center. On the 18th, it's Mr. David Brown's birthday, another Miracle League game that you can check out. The Walk Across Sumner annual event happens on that day. And then there's a special event at Rosemont as Halloween approaches. It's called Death Comes to Historic Rosemont. Not my cup of tea, but a lot of people really do enjoy that event as well. And then Miss Rosemary Bates' birthday is on the 21st. I certainly want to say big congratulations and thank you to Historic Downtown Gallatin and all of the city departments and volunteers and vendors that created a really stellar festival this past weekend. I think the weather helped create, but I know that Ms. Nixon has made some improvements with the festival, and I heard many people comment on how great of a festival it was. And so I'm glad that so many people were able to enjoy it, and that it was a great event, and that thankful to particularly Public Works for the way that they always support and keep that trash up. No, it's a rough, long day for them, and it was hot. So with that, I'm going to move on to the regular agenda. And the first item on the agenda is second reading on ordinance 02507-40. And I'm going to ask Councilman Fan to introduce that, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, approving the amended preliminary master development plan for Foxland Harbor Marina on 7.38 plus or minus acres, located south of Nashville Pike and east of Douglas Bend Road, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And I so move.
I have a motion by Councilman Fan, a second by Councilman Fennell, opening the floor for discussion. Mr. Rose is at the podium without objection, and I'm sure a lot of people do have comments, but it's okay to go ahead with what he has to say. Motion second, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, Mr. Rose, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. First off, I wanted to just reiterate, you all received an email from me this past Friday, just forwarding on an email from Mary Keith from the Army Corps of Engineers. I want to read that into the record for the public's benefit, and also for yours if you didn't get a chance to read it. It says, Mayor Brown, good afternoon. Considering the City Council meeting on September 16th and the discussion regarding USACE and the proposed marina development, I am offering a few clarifying statements on behalf of USACE. I feel this is important communication since the City of Gallatin is a valued partner with USACE. The lease agreement for Foxland Harbor grantee gives permission for the operation and maintenance of the areas for commercial concession purposes in accordance with the development plan on federally owned property only. The conditions within the lease do not apply to private lands. Much of the Foxland Harbor project is located on private property adjacent to Corps property, where the Corps does not have jurisdiction to approve or deny development. The development plan submitted and included as an exhibit with the lease is a conceptual approval of future development as it relates to the lease area only. Prior to implementation of the plan, the grantee is required to submit detailed drawings of the proposed development on Corps property for official approval from the real estate contracting officer. Any deviation from the plan requires prior coordination with relevant USACE staff. Again, this plan considers development only located within the grantee's lease area. It is important to note that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, USACE, lacks the authority to approve or deny construction on private land. Regarding the statement that it took 10 months to receive information from USACE, initial FOIA requests for information related to the Foxland Harbor Marina began in November 2024 with a request for comments related to the recent public meeting and the public comment period. The comments were not provided at this time as they were not yet completed and prepared for issuance. The comments were provided within the final environmental assessment to the public on March 10th, 2025. An additional request was made in September 2025 seeking the executed lease agreement governing public property, and both the executed lease and the comments were provided as a part of the most recent response. As it relates to Corps property and the lease area, the Corps has received no formal requests from the grantee to modify the current development structure or plans. I can make myself available for a call if you'd like to discuss further. Sincerely, Kathy, Mary Catherine, Keith, Chief of Real Estate Division, Real Estate Contracting Officer of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So I just want to further that with pointing out the area of the lease area, which I have in one of these drawings here. So if you'll look closely on this drawing, you have a line that kind of outlines the lease area, and it follows this area here and kind of pops out there, mostly including water and a little bit of land, on either side of this little inlet here. This land is obviously our parking area for the boat launch, and this is just some land that's adjacent to the water's edge. That being said, none of the area here where the proposed development is within the lease area. And so I know there were some claims last week or last meeting that indicated that the Army Corps of Engineers would have to approve that development, or that no residential development could be proposed within the lease area. But the lease area does not have proposed residential development on it. That's the first thing. Also, in your packets tonight is a recommended amendment to the ordinance. After the public hearing, I had some discussions with the developer, Mr. Goodall, and we looked at some amendments based on some of the public comments that we did receive. So I've sort of jumped to that so that you can have that information. And again, that was included in your packets online. so that you'd be able to review that prior, hopefully, to this meeting. So the first change would be, we had a condition of approval that said, number 3, add note, no outdoor storage of materials will be allowed in parking spaces adjacent to Foxland Boulevard and Douglas Bend Road. We are proposing to remove the language that clarifies where on the site that it would be, meaning that it would be the entire site now that would have no outdoor storage of materials. And we believe that that includes the storage of empty boat trailers that are not attached to vehicles, that would be sitting there long-term kind of thing. To me, we're trying to address the concern that there would be something similar to what's happening down at the Gallatin Marina, where there are multiple empty boat trailers sitting there long-term. And of course, other materials as well being stored in the parking lot. And then jump down to condition number 13, which says install a roundabout at the intersection of Douglas Bend Road and Foxland Boulevard. Roundabout must be functional prior to, and it used to say, development reaching 25% completion. We wanted to clarify the time frame on that so that it was a little bit more clear as to what 25% meant in our minds. So we inserted the language saying prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy on the second mixed-use building and prior to issuance of any building permits for the construction on the 4 condominium buildings. So what that is intending to allow is they can obtain certificate of occupancy on the first mixed-use building. They can obtain a building permit on the second mixed-use building, but not certificate of occupancy until the roundabout is functional. Then number 15, we're proposing a new condition. All signage shown is conceptual and shall be required to obtain a sign permit and meet the regulations of the Gallatin zoning ordinance. So that's intending to address the concern that the conceptual images, which are, if you'll bear with me for a second.
That's kind of a requirement by our code, though. I mean.
It is.
Yeah.
We're reiterating the fact so that it's clear, because it's been brought up so many times, and because these images do appear in the documentation submitted by the developer. We don't want confusion that someone could interpret that these images were part of the approval and constituted that they could be used as justification for granting a permit that is outside the regulations of our zoning ordinance. So while these images do show some, neon lighting and things, we do not think that that should be constituted as justification for making an approval on a sign permit that would be of such nature. Lastly, number 16, another new condition. On the final master development plan, the developer shall provide dumpster locations away from Foxland Boulevard and Douglas Bend Road to a location nearer the mixed-use buildings. That was, again, to address one of the concerns that the dumpsters were out near the roads and would be unsightly or, have negative effect on the visual abilities as we are looking at the project. With that, I know the developer wanted to address some things in relation to these conditions. One other note before I ask for him to be able to speak. We did speak about the building height condition, which had been at 78 feet for all buildings, mainly about whether or not the 2 mixed-use buildings needed that height exception. He has requested that that remain at that level. Based on their design, they're not fully worked out yet, but anticipate needing that full amount to be able to do that. So they're looking at likely having more than just a couple stories worth of units within that, and that the configuration would be different than what I had at least originally anticipated it would be. So with that, I know you'd like to
Can
say
I
a
ask
few
you-
words in regards to that.
Can I ask you one thing before they determine that, and you may not feel, you may not have this in your memory, and I do, but can you describe, because I think this is a confusion that continues to exist, although you've addressed it before, and I know others have as well, that there is an existing approved plan.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really struggled with when it was in the Planning Commission, and the reason I wanted to let this amended plan carry forward is because it changed the access to the marina, where all of the access wouldn't be from Foxland Boulevard. And I felt like that was
An improvement.
a grand improvement. And so what I'm asking is for you to say that that is what is approved, and that is what could happen if we did nothing this evening.
Yeah.
Just,
So this is the approved condo plan. And as you'll see here, there are a couple of access points that come out to Foxland Boulevard. And those obviously were approved as part of the original condo plan. The 4 condo buildings are essentially in the same location on the new plan, but one of these access points has been removed and actually placed down in this location off of Douglas Bend Road, which hopefully takes off Foxland Boulevard from having so much of an impact on the traffic that would be generated by this site. So I would say that's a vast improvement. You're going to have a lot more of the traffic entering into this other intersection down below and not coming all the way into the subdivision for Foxland. I can clarify additionally if you'd like, but I mean, is that what you were asking about as far as the access?
well, and then the previous plan that was approved, what did it have in the way of the marina? Or was that, I guess if it wasn't our purview, it wasn't.
So this is the previous marina plan. It largely dealt with just parking and then a little bit of mix, like there was some commercial space, including a restaurant and things like that. I believe it was 5,000 square feet of.
Yeah, it was the restaurant.
Restaurant
And the commercial
and-
space, and then they asked for the dry storage and hotel, and then that went away, and then they asked for more condos. But
Right, so, I mean, this is kind of the part of the property next to where those condos would be, which is essentially over here. And then the two have been sort of merged together to make one project. But this, again, as you see, had the access coming out over here. And now that's been amended with the new plan to come down, straight down to Foxland Boulevard, or to Douglas Bend Road, right in here. And you'll see that on the new plan. Right here. So there's that access point, and there's this access point.
anybody have any questions for what Mr. Rose has shown before he asks if you all will hear from the developer?
I had a lot of questions after the attorney spoke after the last public comment meeting that we had, but since the Corps of Engineers wrote that letter, it's cleared up a lot of the questions I had. And then also Brian, I mean, I wrote down a lot of stuff here, but Brian's pretty much addressed all the issues that was a concern that I have. One is I want to talk a little bit more about the roundabout when we can. But as far as the boat trailers, I think that's been covered.
That's been said publicly quite a bit, that
Yeah,
they
the
would not
signage has been
have
covered, the
boat
evergreens have been
trailers or
covered.
neon signs, yeah.
Been a lot of discussion. Are we going to bring the developer up here?
Anybody else have any questions for Brian before we decide on that? Okay, motion.
Motion to suspend the rules and let one of the developers.
Motion by Councilman Fennell. Second by Councilman Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Mr. Goodall, we'd welcome you forward.
One other thing before they get started, I want to bring up, in the last meeting also, there was one of the citizens spoke up about the bridge, and that was brought up again tonight. As soon as we took a break to go during public comments, I asked our engineers about the bridge issue, and I was told that the contract has already been signed, the bridge will be built. And I believe I'm hearing the right information, right?
Want to address that, or I don't want to put you on the spot, but it may be helpful.
Councilman, you're asking about the construction of the bridge on Nashville Pike?
Yes, that was brought up again this evening, and it was brought up extensively in the last public comments meeting.
The information that we have from TDOT, it is funded, and it is set to go in the December letting of 2026. So we're
it
still.
will be built.
That is the information that TDOT gives to us, so we expect it to happen.
Goodall.
Thank you. Bob Goodall, 1459 Rosella Way in Gallatin. Would like to address some of the questions that have come up in the past, and I'm going to let Bobby Reed start out with more of the docks and what's on the water, some of those questions or concerns.
Bobby Reed, Bill Hunter Road, Salina, Tennessee. I also had a lot to say, but it's already been clarified. You know, there's a lot of statements made that prompted the chief of real estate to intervene and clarify it. The other things that we've talked about is, I heard tonight, the fuel going to the marina. I don't think they're aware of how strict environmentalists are about these marinas, and we're speccing a double-walled tank, fireproof tank, no containment around it, stainless steel fuel lines, and it's not necessarily because we want to spend all that money, because that's what's required by OSHA and the marine environmentalists. Also, I've heard talk about concerns about sewage spillage, because we're going to have a pump out. There's 8 public marinas on Old Hickory Lake. Every one of them have a pump out system. It's not just Old Hickory Lake, it's the entire Nashville district, from Lake Barkley to Lake Cumberland. Every marina has to have a pump out. Now, our marina will not require, I don't know if we'll ever pump a boat out. I mean, our largest slip is 40 foot. My home lake that I live on now, the marinas around me have 1,000 slips. In those 1,000 slips, there's over 800 houseboats that get pumped once a month. And I've never seen a spillage anywhere. So I just want to put it people's mind at ease that this is not a big factor. It's at every existing marina in the Nashville district already. And I've worked at a lot of them. I've never seen a spillage. Another issue was, you know, the traffic on the water. Well, I have got verbal consent, and the only reason it's verbal is because we haven't implemented the plan from TWA and the Corps of Engineers, put informational buoys outside our lease area, all the way up to Station Camp Creek. And those buoys will probably say congested area, slow. You know, they'll have, they won't be a complete no wake zone buoy, but they will notify people of it being a congested area. So with that said, you know, I'd like to make another comment. They made a comment tonight that you know, our retail was going to have 1,400 vehicles at it a day, and they followed that up with that's twice as many as the marina. So to me, that says they expect 700 cars a day to visit our marina. Well, I'm at these 1,000 slip marinas, and they have a parking lot that holds 225 cars. So I just don't believe that, that's just, it's unbelievable that anybody would think that there'd be 700 car count a day at this marina. And then I'm going to go on to say, you know, if you have anything that you think that I can clarify that's within my ability to do it, I'd be glad to do it. I did, after the last meeting, call TDOT and the Corps about this settlement in the creek, and they told me, the Corps told me the environmental study was done and approved. The permits were in place, that they were ready to let it go out for bid. So there are no issues with contaminants in our cove, or the bridge is not going to be built, or, I mean, all that's just not true. And I'll be glad to forward the phone numbers of the people I've spoke to about it.
Bobby, let me ask you this. On that, the proposed bridge, you're talking about some dredging and stuff. Will they be dredging in that area, TDEC or TDOT for that bridge?
Absolutely. 10,000 cubic yards of material is going to be displaced under new construction of that bridge.
Well, that's already been said that,
Absolutely. It's in the plan. I've even spoke with the Corps about, you know, they have to offset that somewhere else on Corps property because of the hydraulics of the lake, and looking at areas to offset it. So it's all done. I mean, the permits are already in place. They're going to let it out for bid. Environmental study has been approved. There are no contaminants in the lake. There's nothing to stop that. So when you stand up here and hear all this, you just wonder who fabricated it and where it came from.
Several meetings ago, you said something about I mean, I knew this just from growing up around here and knowing about the last private marinas in Tennessee, but I know that there's been a lot of confusion about what was the original plan or vision or whatever for the marina and for the development, but would you address just the issue of private marinas from what you know? Because I think you actually cited the date that they didn't allow any pass.
We have not one time in any form deviated from our plan with the Corps.
I'm talking about the Army Corps of Engineers allowance for private marinas.
That's illegal. You can't have a private marina. The Corps absolutely will not permit that. There's two on Old Hickory Lake right now. The one in Hendersonville for Bluegrass and Cedar Creek Yacht Club. They are private marinas. But I feel comfortable saying that'll never happen again.
Well, I thought that someone had said, and I no, I wouldn't have dreamed it, but like in the 70s, they said no more, that doesn't align with the mission of the access to public land or public water. So they stopped the private marina piece, but.
Well, all I can say is public land is public land. The Corps will tell you anything that's done on their water and on their land for a commercial concession has to be public. It'll never be private. Now, they do allow community docks, but the reason they did that was to cut the density down of a dock every 50 feet, you know, on the lake. They're trying to slow that down. So, but there will never be another. The Corps has told me this will be the last permit that'll ever be issued for a new marina in the Nashville district.
Interesting. Councilman Juvance has a question.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I just want to make a quick comment of what you said, Mayor, earlier, and that's the stuff I've been hearing for years and years and years. Every time there is a new plan proposed, I say, oh, you know, it's better than it was before, and they can do all that and all that, but they never do it. So if they wanted to do the initial plan, that's what they will do. That's what they will do. But no, they get on an amendment. But just technicality there. On the core agreement, the number of sleeps are 258. On the plans I have, it's 253. So which one it is? It's 258 sleeps or 253 sleeps? So if it's 253, right there, you're deviating from what was authorized by the Corps.
We do.
Because on the plan and the agreement on the Corps, it's 258 sleeps.
Well, we have transient slips that we don't put in the commercial concession number.
No, but the agreement with the Corps for 258, the plan showed 253, so right there, there is a deviation from what, even if it's less, it's still a deviation from what was authorized by the Corps and what you have on the plan.
Well, here's what I'll say to that. If there's a deviation, the Corps will take care of it. We're dealing with the Corps. If they have a problem with our number and our count and what our plan is, they will address it. But thus far, they've accepted it, and we'll adhere to it.
I just read the letter the Corps sent. They say that any deviation from the plan requires prior coordination with relevant USAA staff. It's on the letter they sent. So if they approve a certain amount and you have a different amount, that's a deviation. I want to see the approval from the Corps.
Well, once again, when you talk about deviation from the plan, we have a permit to build this marina, and they gave us so many acres of water. If we want to deviate from that plan when we start building, we decided we don't want those 40-foot slips, we want to change them all 24 slips. We turn in a new drawing and it's a deviation, the Corps approves it. So any deviation from the plan, whether it's current or in the future, whatever we do, we have to go to the Corps. When we start work, we will go to the Corps and say, we've started work and here's what we're doing.
Councilman Alexander?
Yes, Mr. Reed. During public comments a couple weeks ago, there were two different boaters that came up and said they had taken their boats in the area of the marina. One of them was a pontoon boat, so we know that displaces very little water. One of them read they were in 2 feet of water. One read that they were in 1.8 feet of water. Does that concern you?
Well, it does if it's true, but another side of that is those same people that say that turn around and complain because they can't unload their boat because the parking lot's so crowded. If it's 1 2 foot of water, why is it such a heavily used boat ramp if it's so hazardous and nobody can navigate it? Why would there be such a concern over the usage of it? There's not enough parking there. That would be my quick answer. Another answer I will say is, and I've said it up here before, the Corps didn't take our word for anything. They brought their navigation equipment all the way from the Tennessee River to Old Hickory Lake to Station Camp Creek, and they boast of having the best underwater topo equipment in the world. And they shot the topo on our entire lease area. They didn't find any water in it under 4.5 feet deep. And some of it's 6 feet and better. And people can dispute that, and that's fine. And the Corps says that they welcome anybody to dispute it and approach them and challenge them with their data. They'll sure back it up, and I believe them.
Thank you.
Councilman Fan?
In your opinion, compared to all the marinas in the state, when this is completed, where will it be?
As far as on a scale, we intend it to be the best one in the state as far as aesthetic value and amenities.
You've traveled the state from one end to the other with marinas.
There's a lot of things that are being done with this marina that you will not see at any other marinas. Hip roofs, vented roofs, 12-foot walkways, golf cart accessible. It's just almost non-existent at most marinas. And back to this water situation, when I started coming on Old Hickory Lake back in the late 70s, it's a huge lake. But it's got a river channel. And everywhere I went, I run aground. I tried to go in Peach Valley Cove, I run aground. I tried to go in Station Canton Creek, I run aground. I tried to go in Spencer Creek, I run aground. If you're going to navigate Old Hickory Lake, you better learn where the channels are at.
And they change.
They change. But with that said, according to the Corps, the average main depth of Cumberland River, start to finish, is the deepest river in the world. But it's only got a channel.
Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for Mr. Goodall.
Well, let's finish with Mr. Reed because Mr. Goodall had some things he wanted to say first. So is there anyone else that has any questions for Mr. Reed? Okay, Mr. Goodall, I'd welcome you to present what it is that you want to present, and then you can ask your questions.
Oh, no, I'll go ahead and answer his question first. Okay, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all allowing me to take the time tonight and talk about a few things. And one of the items that we talked about last time was short-term rentals. So we've studied that, and I want to talk about the conclusion of what we found. So we've got a number of folks that are interested in condominiums at this site. We did a condo survey of those buyers looking to purchase condos here. And what we found was the vast majority were either wanting permanent or part-time residency. Some of them were investors desiring either a long-term investment or had plans to move to the condominium at a later date. So we studied and we received feedback on the following: doing leases that were 1 year or longer, or doing leases that were less than 1 year. So in part of that process, we gathered information considering who might use a short-term rental. It could be out-of-town guests for a wedding. It could be guests for a retirement party, a guest at golf events or golf tournaments. It might be someone attending a business conference that we would have in the event center. It might be guests of club members. It might be guests of Foxland neighbors. It might be families in town for holidays, or it could be a non-resident member of Tennessee Grasslands who lives out of town. So after considering the pluses and the minuses, we resolved at the following. So for the two mixed-use buildings, owners may choose to offer leases of less than 1 year, but must use an approved management company. The management company would be required to vet through applications to make sure usage is appropriate within our residential community. There would be quiet hours and other regulations required and enforced by the management company. For the 4 condo buildings, they would be required to have at least a 1 year or a 12-month lease in place. And I'll stop there to see if y'all have any questions about the leasing requirements.
Leasing requirement questions? Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't see Mr. Johnson.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I was late to raise my hand. I apologize. So you're talking about the management company, but how are you going to enforce that? Are they going to have someone on site who's going to check that? Because even if a year lease, if what I understand, you ask for a year lease, it's going to be renewable, but that doesn't mean that during the weekend they're not going to put that on VRBO or short-term rentals because they can. So that's, for me, it's a good start, but I don't think that solves the issue. And for everything you say, that can be friends, that can be people who just pass by, that can be, so I think it's a good start, but I don't think that solves the issue at all.
I appreciate you saying that. And I think the thing is, we don't anticipate there being any issues whatsoever. The management company would vet through the applications to begin with. If needed, if security needed to be, for the plaza, we could do that in the future. I don't even think that would be required, but But if it had to be, we would do whatever to make sure it's kept a nice neighborhood. That is our intention. It's hard to think about, and just as you kind of did, you kind of default to like, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? You know, we hear stories about short-term rentals in Nashville. We see Second Avenue and that craziness that happens. I don't see this being anything like that whatsoever. This is an amenity for the neighborhood. It's amenity for the people
Ladies
that
and
live
gentlemen,
there.
please. Thank you.
It's amenity for the people that live there. It's a benefit to them, whether it's for folks that they have that are out of town of friends, that maybe they just don't want to go spend, you know, a night or a week or whatever, a month at a hotel. They want to be right there in the community where they can enjoy, you know, the folks that live there, that they're friends or family, or enjoy the club or other benefits. Yes, sir.
I'm going to play devil advocate on that because I think that's one of the main issues brought by constituents. You know what I do for a job, so I come to Nashville regularly, and Nashville bypass Vegas. For people who come to party now, they come in Nashville, they don't go to Vegas, and I can assure you that because of the load of the airplanes we have coming into Nashville every weekend. You can find a seat on this airplane Friday, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and the same way on the way back. So if the demand is there and people see they can make money, they will. And I don't worry about destroying an apartment or a condo because that's going to fall on the owner, but I'm worried about the people around it. And they're going to go to Nashville. I don't know if maybe you did not, but you probably go to the symphony in Nashville. So you pass by Broadway. You've seen Broadway now. It's not like that was 5 years ago. People are going to go to Broadway. They're going to come back here, heavily drinked, and they're going to keep the party going there. So what I see, like you say, I look at the worst case scenario. I mean, that's going to put a burden on our police department because what the neighbor are going to do if the noise is out of control, they're going to call our police department, and our police going to come, and that's going to take resource to something else. And we already, you know, we already not at level we should be at for the police. So that's my concern, and I think that's the concern of a lot of people. And we can't push that aside because that's human nature, and that's what Nashville became. And we are 30-minute drive from Broadway here.
Any other questions for Mr. Goodall?
Yeah, I have one. Are you planning on selling the marina?
Sorry?
Are you planning on selling in the near future the marina?
Not today.
I said the near future.
I mean, I never know in times, but I mean, just like the golf courses, we bought Fairview in 2011, we bought Foxland 2018, and there hadn't been a for sale sign go up yet.
Because looking at the news, that's one of my concerns too, because Blackstone is going around buying every marina in the country. They just acquired Safe Harbor Marina, the most marinas in the U.S. So again, I know you, we're not friends, but we've been dealing with each other for years, and I'm here actually because of you, you know that, because of development you brought on the back of my property.
What a blessing. Yeah.
I thank you for that. I would not be here without you. So, yeah, you know, I know money is money, but if we have an agreement, and again, I disagree with the comments who were made against you 2 weeks ago on on who you are. And
Thank you for saying
I have no doubt that the product you're going to build is going to be a good product. I have no doubt about that. I'm just concerned, like a lot of people, about the size. But again, Blackstone going around buying every piece of marina they can find, and they're not the only one. There is a lot of push in Wall Street right now to buy marinas. We can have an agreement with you, and in a year it's someone else. And we know what can happen at that point. So that was my question.
Anyone else with any questions? Anything else that you want to address, Mr. Goodall?
Yes. Okay, so I wanted to start with a vision. I just really wanted to take a moment and talk about the future of Foxland Harbor Marina. And my hope is that one day everybody in this room will be enjoying this special place. In the morning, each of you can go to the coffee shop, sit outside, enjoy the morning under the umbrellas. Each of you can enjoy the view of the lake from the comfortable outdoor furniture, and where each of you can enjoy dinner with your friends. You can enjoy the convenience of riding your golf carts to the boat at the world-class marina, and where you can take your kids or your grandkids to get ice cream and watch them playing on the playground. It's a vision. In this next chapter we're entering, we cannot do it alone. It's going to include everybody in this entire community. We can all share in the opening of the state-of-the-art marina and condominium plaza, especially the Foxland neighborhood. It's your newest amenity. Your strong support will make this one of those special places that sets neighborhoods apart from others offering less amenities. So I wanted to talk about the journey thus far. We bought the property in 2011. And so we've been on this journey a pretty good while. It's been a long road. And I really appreciate everybody's passion throughout this process. A lot of the folks that spoke here tonight, the input we received from these public meetings, that when we were at the Corps of the Engineers and when we were at the Planning Commission and also at the City Council meeting, has helped guide us to this final design. Early on, we felt strongly that a hotel and the dry storage was going to be an important component of this design. But after public input we heard, we listened, and we made changes based on those comments. I could have done a better job recognizing that earlier, and for that I apologize. I'm trying to be more empathetic and consider everyone's viewpoint. And with that, I'd like to give the perspective of myself, because I'm kind of wearing a lot of different hats as we go through this journey too. One of them is one of the owners of Tennessee Grasslands. We feel like Tennessee Grasslands is a really important part of this community. Enough so that we saved Fairview from bankruptcy in 2011, and we purchased Foxland in 2018. Both were struggling financially when purchased. Foxland even more is a little bit closer to my heart because we lived there. There were about 8 houses built, and we saw what Foxland had become. The roads were almost impassable. They'd buckled up so bad. It was a bad situation. There were hundreds of vacant lots on the ground. We personally, as a home builder, went in, purchased land, purchased vacant lots, trying to help revive that neighborhood, and I'm proud to have been a part of kind of where it's become now. We don't take for granted the over 1,200 families who we serve as club members at Tennessee Grasslands. Many of these families move to Gallatin and stay here partly because of Tennessee Grasslands Golf and Country Club. Our commitment is to continue to reinvest and to keep Tennessee Grassland as an economic driver of our community, now and in the future. Now, my hat as a developer, the last 42 years of my life I spent developing communities and building houses. One aspect of this is we always looked at how we could add amenities that directly increase the value of the homes in the neighborhood and the community. Amenities draw potential homeowners to the community And once there, they contribute to our culture, our churches, our restaurants, our shopping, and they invest in our economy. If I had to be honest, I love amenities. I was always big master plan communities with lots of amenities to draw the folks. I love planning them, I love building them, and I love selling them to potential home buyers, selling them on how great the community is that they were moving into. So here's just a small list of the ones that I did throughout my career of the amenities that we added. Pools, kid pools, zero entry pools, lap pools, play sets in the pools, hot tubs, bocce ball, volleyball, basketball, lakes with fountains, canoe launches, clubhouses, some with kitchens, some with billiards, meeting rooms, fitness centers, HOA offices, miles of walking trails, tennis, dozens of playgrounds. The only one that really didn't work was the sand volleyball where the cats took over. That's the only one I probably would never do again. But all the rest of them worked great. Once we completed those, we would give them to the neighborhood. The residents benefited from those in the quality of life and the increase of the value of their homes. But then the HOAs had to maintain them, the HOAs had to insure them, and charge HOA dues for them. This is an amenity unlike the city building a park, a playground, a golf course, civic center. Gallatin doesn't have to buy the land. You don't have to build it. You don't have to maintain it, and you don't have to raise taxes. And this not only increases the value of Foxland directly, which it does contribute the value of Foxland directly, but the entire city of Gallatin. So now my hat is part of the marina ownership. Again, the owners of Foxland Harbor Marina feel that Foxland Harbor Marina can be an important part of our community. But unfortunately for us as owners, this hadn't been the most fun. As investors, we purchased the original property in 2011, which probably makes it a poor investment, plus the fact it's a lot of work and all the owners are trying to retire. It's not a get-rich-fast scheme. It's not even a get-rich-slow scheme. But that's fine. I'm not doing this for the money. If I was doing it for the money, this request would look much different. We'd probably be requesting 210 multifamily units that it was originally approved for, and I could probably pack in 210 units with 35 feet. They would just be super small units. Rather than the 112 very large luxury units, and we probably would have left the dry storage in too. This marina will help the community just like Tennessee Grasslands has. There have been many families move here anticipating the marina. We can help fulfill their dreams. And that's the reason we feel passionate about this amenity. Going through the past several months with the marina, the Corps of Engineers meetings, the Planning Commission meetings, City Council meetings, I think I've gotten a taste of how City Council members feel about your service. You're doing a lot of good work for the community. You're not doing it for the money. And then you get criticized and villainized on social media and at these meetings. I would understand if you feel unappreciated. And that brings me to, as I'm a homeowner, I was listening to many of these folks that were speaking over the past few months and tonight, and I realized in a lot of ways, I totally understand how they feel. I empathize with what I sense is a fear of change. And we can all have a fear of change, and most of the time, and it's very humanistic, like we default to what is the worst possible outcome of this change. And that's a lot of the feedback that we've gotten. And like most of the folks in here that spoke against it, I'm a homeowner. We have our own dock. We don't personally really need a marina. And it resonates with me when I hear about more boats and more traffic, and that can certainly be an inconvenience. I'm sure if you ask everybody in this room, if we took a poll, do you like traffic? Probably nobody's going to say they like traffic. In many ways, I liked the old Gallatin. I miss the days growing up where nobody was on the lake and there was only one traffic light, but I grieve more for some of the lost civility in our community. If Reader's Digest had been at the last few core and city meetings following on social media, I wonder if we would still be named the friendliest place in America, nicest place in America. Which brings me to my final perspective, and that is a Gallatin resident who has lived here my entire life. For our town and our residents, this is different. I grew up on this lake. I've been on every inch of it. When I was 12 years old, I got my first boat, and I could take my bicycle and ride to town, but like with a boat, I was mobile. I could go anywhere, and my parents didn't really know where I was, and it was fine. I was free. So I love this lake. It has a deep affection for me. This ramp that we're as part of the marina, like I've literally put in that ramp hundreds and hundreds of times. I met my wife on this lake 40 years ago at her boyfriend's keg party. That's true. So for our friends and family, this lake is our life. So the reason I'm up here tonight and the reason I've been working so hard on this marina is because this community raised me. And I feel indebted to leave Gallatin better because of that. This lake and the opportunity for our community to have a new state-of-the-art marina is important to help separate ourselves from other competing cities. Because this can be one of the crown jewels, not only for our community, but the state of Tennessee. And it's unprecedented. And this chance, I put may never come again, per Bobby, will never come again. So this is an amenity that adds value not only to the neighborhood, but the entire community. And as I mentioned before, unlike a park, a golf course, pool, civic center, greenway, the citizens of Gallatin do not have to pay for it or maintain it. In fact, the tax revenue to the city from this amenity will be enormous. One advantage we really get by this is we live in a world of Google searches. Real estate markets are driven by buyers typing keywords, and I always ask buyers, how did you find out? Especially like with Foxland and Fairview, a lot of them, we typed in lake and golf. If you go in and you type in golf and marina community, you have very few researches that come back. You've got a couple in East Tennessee, Tennessee National and Wind River, and they're in a super rural area, kind of away from everything. You've got Lake Martin in Alabama and some in Florida, and that's it. You've got none in Middle Tennessee except Foxland Harbor, hopefully. This is an advantage that will make our city more desirable, raising values for everyone. Anytime we get the opportunity to add such an incredible amenity to the city of Gallatin, it's an honor. But we can't do it alone. We need the City of Gallatin leaders, the Foxland neighborhood, the community, the Corps of Engineers, everybody in this room to make this marina plaza and this city the best it can be. This next chapter of this journey is all on us, and the goal is to fulfill the original vision that many residents moved here for, to make sure what is created is positive for our community, to exceed expectations for everyone, whether you're supporting the development or not. And finally, when this marina plaza and condos are constructed, that everyone in this room is proud to bring their friends and families. So that next step is on us. The Corps given their blessing for us to go ahead. Now we're asking the City Council to give their blessing so we can get this marina started and finished and give everybody an opportunity to see it and then to know what it's going to do for the City of Gallatin. Thank y'all so much.
Follow-up questions for Mr. Goodall?
The roundabout, the size of the roundabout.
We've been studying that, and I've got our, Jack, do you want to come and speak to the roundabout? I've got our engineer with us, and he'll come up and speak to what we've researched thus far.
Jack Ludington. I live in Brentwood. I'm retired for about 7 years, but I was Vice President of Development for Bob. So I've known Bob about 23 years now. And in retirement, I do consulting work, but only for Bob. He's the only one that I would ever want to work for. With the roundabout diameter will be about in the 100-foot range. It's going to be similar to the one at the Vintage Apartments.
Where?
It's going to be similar to the one at the Vintage Apartments from the
Right near
geometric
there,
design.
Going across.
It's the one right across from Foxen Boulevard. Yes, you turn right. So the geometry will be very similar to that.
So that should be adequate for
Oh,
a boat
yes.
and a trailer and?
Yes. And we've had preliminary meetings with Nick and his staff about that. So we're already working on the preliminary design.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Discussion, questions, comments? Councilman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I would like to make a comment on the ordinance by itself, because what's on the ordinance is wrong. Talking about the Gallatin Municipal Planning Commission reviewed and recommended approval of the preliminary master development plan, that is wrong. I was in a room and the vote was a tie. So you cannot bring anything else with a tie because you don't have a winning side. So that is wrong, that should not be there. There was actually no recommendation by the Planning Commission, and I would like that to be changed. After I go on the parking, because again, if I go on what was presented on the parking side, the commercial required 46 parking lot and it's provided only 21 parking lot. And I don't know why we even authorize that when it's clear that should be, if it's 46 required, that should be 46 provided. Because basically what they did, they took this spot and added some golf cart parking. If I go visit and I don't live around, I'm not going to use my golf cart from Longolo Park to the marina. I'm going to need a parking spot for my truck. So that should not even be an option. And the stuff I would like to mention too, because I was mentioned, I think that was Jennifer, during the public comment about Councilman Hayes not being there, and I found a little cavalier that it was not present at the public hearing and today when it's in his district and had the biggest staff happening in his district for a long time. So I'm going to make a motion to defer until Councilman Hayes is here, as requested by one of his constituents, to hear what his constituents have to say. So I'm going to make a motion to postpone to the next council meeting.
The 21st.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Pretty sure Councilman Hayes voted yes on the first reading. Am I correct?
I'm not going to speak to that, I don't know. Regardless, you can pull it up and look if you want, but I don't All right, all in favor of deferring, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Have it, will not be deferred. I have Councilman Johnson, Alexander voting for it, and the others voting against deferral for the record.
All right, now, I want to go back to the core, and the letter we received is actually more confusing than anything else. But I want to go back to what I hear, that the core has nothing to do with what's on land. That's where I find it a little confusing, because in the lease, if you go page 4 of the lease, in paragraph 5A, it said lessee shall provide facilities and activities in accordance with the use and development plan and its architectural term and sign plan as supplemented or amended, called a development plan, and attached hereto as Exhibit C. And B, I'll come back to Exhibit C, but B saying no structure may be erected or altered upon unless and until said development plan has been approved in writing by the real estate contracting officer. So the development plan, if I read the contract correctly, it's Exhibit C. If I go to Exhibit C, was really, really small, but Exhibit C on the development plan, it's a the phase 5 phase, and it talks about parking space. It talks about public boardwalk. It talks about section of the parking lot. It talks about restaurant, playground, showers, and another section of the parking lot to be developed. So that's why I'm kind of confused when I hear that the Corps doesn't do anything on the ground, where, if I read correctly, it's part of the lease agreement. So I would really like, because I'm not an engineer, we all know that already, but I'm not specialist on lease with the Corps, and I would really like to hear someone from the Corps here explain me what the difference between, I want the facts. I think that was told during public record, the gentleman say we have the right to demand facts, and I think he's right. And I cannot make, to use his own words, solid logical decision without hearing from the Corps, because that stuff is even more confusing about that later. So, and I think the Corps will be, of what I read on the letter from the Chief Real Estate Division, I don't think she will have an issue to come here and talk to us and explain to me what's really going on, because I have a piece of paper who say something, I have a letter which kind of confusing, and I have two different versions. So I would like to make a motion to postpone until a representative of the Corps can come at the podium and explain what the difference between what we have in front of us and what's really approved.
Motion? Second. Questions? All in favor of the motion to defer until the Corps shows up, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Noes, 2 yeses. Motion fails.
All right, let's keep going. Now I have a question, because I was at the Planning Commission last night, and Plan Gallatin was on the table. So, and every time I see something arriving in front of us, developer use Plan Gallatin as a great example of what they can do or not. So I opened the Plan Gallatin, and it looks like that piece there is actually suburban. So I'm wondering how can we approve 15.17 unit per acre, and of what I understood, correct me if it's wrong, how many stories were the buildings? 5? The tallest one? 5 stories, when suburban is 1 to 3 story building only. When the max authorized in a suburban character area is 4 to 5 units per acre. So if we can authorize only 4 to 5 units per acre on suburban area, how can we approve 15.7 units per acre? I mean, if we let that go, every development who's going to arrive in the suburban area is going to come back to us and say, you approved that one with 15 plus units per acre. I want the same. And what we're going to say, you can't. So that's, I'm wondering, how can we even do that?
Anyone else have any questions, comments? Hmm? You want to answer?
I can answer that question. So we are not asking for a, the developer is not asking for a rezone of the property at this time. So the current zoning of the property already allows that type of density. It's a MRO zoning. So the Plan Gallatin at this point is irrelevant. It's the zoning that prevails.
So if I remember well, when Plan Gallatin came in front of us, and I can remember that because I asked the question several times, and that got put on a record. I asked the question if we could authorize higher density than what in the Plan Gallatin, and I got told no. Plan Gallatin is a max density that we can authorize. That's on a record. So why are we changing that now?
Again, that's
We use that for Lock 4 when the change of character area was done. That got used. That's used for every development. So why, on that particular occasion, are we authorized a density higher than what is recommended on the Plan Gallatin?
Again, if the property already has that zoning, then it's gonna, that zoning is gonna prevail. If you have Plan Gallatin in place and you are requesting rezoning to something that is higher than that, then yes, we would have to deny that. But if it's requesting zoning that is in compliance with Plan Gallatin, then that's approvable by this council.
I disagree with that, and that's not what got told to me when I voted for the Plan Gallatin. So I will find and bring it back. I want that to be looked at. I'm asking a legal to look at it, and I'm going to make a motion to defer until that is looked at, because we cannot, I don't want to open a Pandora's box by approving a higher density that the Plan Gallatin authorized when I got told we could not do that. And that was mentioned clear that had nothing to do with the zoning. The density max authorized was the Plan Gallatin, and right there, it's 4 to 5 units per acre. It's not 15.17 units per acre. So I make a motion to defer to the next council and ask legal to come with an answer, go back and pull the councils when that got approved, and get back to me with that, because I know exactly what I asked.
I can answer that for you now, if you would like for me to.
Yes, please.
What Brian has stated is exactly accurate. They already have their development rights, they already have the zoning, and they had that, I think, before even Plan Gallatin came in. We can't change their zoning by Plan Gallatin. If they're asking for a rezone, yes, they have to go by Plan Gallatin. They have development rights, they have vested rights.
I'd like to make a motion to call for the question.
Motion to call for
I
the
still have the
question.
floor, sir. Thank you. Building heights, I disagree with the building heights because I think we need to stick to the code 78. It's twice what's authorized by the code. Again, we're opening a Pandora's box. Where are we going to stop? If the code say 35, we need to stick to it. Motion that the building height follow the code and got limited to 35 feet.
Motion dies for lack of a second.
Motion to call for the question.
Motion to call for the question.
Second.
Second by Councilman Fennell.
I
Non-debatable. All in
suppose
favor of calling the question.
keep the floor away.
All in favor of calling the question, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, it passes 4-2. I can't hear anybody from the audience. I heard somebody saying something.
Lisa speaking to the mic.
Oh, okay. I always get told I'm loud, so I
And I want to put on
apologize.
a record that the call to the question was made when I still have the floor and there was an illegal motion.
I was advised that was not the case, and we had just had a motion. So I apologize that there's a difference in opinion. I don't know if you'd like to address that, Ms. Hammacaulay.
You had made a motion, it died, and he called for the question. It's not debatable. I don't know how we're to determine that when you still have the floor.
So I am going
So are
to,
we using Robert's Rules of Order now?
going back to the agenda. Item number 1 is second reading on ordinance 02507-40. It's an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, approving the amended preliminary master development plan for Foxland Harbor Marina on 7.38 acres located south Nashville Pike and east of Douglas Bend, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
It is approved 4-2 on second reading. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your patience with this. Mr. Rose? Oh, the amendments.
I apologize, yes, the
Amendments that were
ordinance did have a
proposed.
recommended amendment to it, so
Put us in the posture where whoever made the original motion,
I can amend mine to include amendments.
you were not the original, wait,
That would be fine.
how do I handle it? So yes, you can ask to reopen the vote because you, okay.
Yeah, so I'd like to reopen to amend to include the amendments or the recommendations.
You're making a motion to amend as recommended by Mr. Rose.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I want to make sure we get it right.
Yes.
And it's in the packet. It would be, and just so for clarity and transparency, it would be the red line version that's in the packet are the amendments. I don't want there to
That
be any
motion would be
question.
appropriate.
Gotcha.
Councilman Carter? You
Yes,
agree?
ma'am.
Okay, so I have a motion to make the amendments that were included in the packet.
So we already voted on the ordinance.
Second.
But second by Councilman Fennell on amending the ordinance that was voted upon by the prevailing side. Ms. Hamacali, do you have a concern? Do you think we should do it differently?
Make sure that we're doing it correctly.
She's going to
I
clarify.
thought that it had to be, I mean, they've already voted.
Well, that's why I was trying to reopen it back up to revote and add the amendment.
Reconsider made by the prevailing side.
And that's what, I think that would be a more appropriate pursuit. Okay, motion to reconsider by Councilman Carter. Second by Councilman Fennell. All in favor of reconsidering, say aye. Opposed, say no. Okay, so then that, we have the reconsideration on the table, which would allow you to make the amendment for clarification, although I think Ms. Hamacali's saying because it was in the packet, it probably would be okay, but go ahead and make that to make sure we are covered.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve as recommended by the planning department.
And why don't you read those out into the record, please?
Articulate what the amendments are.
Yes.
Do I need to read the red section in number 3 as well? Already? So,
Got pulled up.
okay, yep, number 3, add, no outdoor storage of materials will be allowed in the parking spaces. Number 13, install a roundabout at the intersection of Douglas Bend Road and Foxland Boulevard. Roundabout must be functional prior to issuance of certificate of occupancy on the second mixed-use building and prior to issuance of any building permits for construction on the 4 condominium buildings. Number 14, modify the existing boat ramp driveway to prohibit left turns from Douglas Bend Road as described in the approved traffic impact study. Number 15, all signage shown is conceptual and shall be required to obtain a sign permit and meet the regulations of the Gallatin zoning ordinance. And number 16, on the final master development plan, the developer shall provide dumpster locations away from Foxland Boulevard and Douglas Bend Road to a location nearer the mixed-use buildings.
I got a question on that.
Wait, here we have a motion. Second on his motion. Second by Councilman Jones? Okay, now you may ask a question.
On this stipulation, there's no storage. Is this during construction also?
No, it's on the site. It was be no material construction on the site. That wouldn't be feasible during construction. Anyone else relevant to this? Councilman Javance?
Thank you, Mayor. I have an issue with 13 because, again, we're talking about free, they could build the condominiums first, they could build 1, 2, 3, second mixed use, and build a second mixed use building almost at the end of the development, and no improvement is going to be done on the road. And that shall not be, because that's going to be a nightmare with construction traffic. So the traffic improvement should be done before they even start, because again, we need to think of the people who live around there, and we're going to have to deal with that for years to come. And I think that's not agreeable. That's the way it's written, because we don't have any phases, we don't have anything. that could be in 5 years, 5 years. And if they decide not to build that second mixed-use building, we won't have any improvement, because they
can't-
could do that.
Councilman Javance, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. They can't get a building permit for construction on any of the 4 condominium buildings until the roundabout is complete, according to
Any
this.
building permits for construction on the 4. Okay, I missed that, but we still have a lot of construction traffic there. And now how are we going to deal with that? I think that should be built before they even start any construction. Or I cannot agree with the comment was made by someone with 25% of the boat ramp. I'm going to make a motion that the roundabout, actually the infrastructure, including the roundabout, the off-site improvement to mitigate additional traffic, including the roundabout, got built before issuance of any permit.
Motion on the floor. Okay, motion dies for lack of a second. Back to the original motion. Anyone with further comments? Okay, we'll go back to voting on the ordinance as amended, which is second reading on ordinance 02507-40. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no.
No.
It does pass 4-2. And as I was going to say earlier, before I forgot the amendments, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your patience and your respectful conversation with us all this evening and for the many months that you have been here. I know it's always difficult when there are changes happening in our world. I remember how I felt when a certain neighborhood was built next to ours, but I have confidence that we will see a good development over time. So I thank you all for working together on this. I think it will be a very good project. With that, do you all need
Yes, please.
an intermission? Okay, we will take a 10-minute recess. We will reconvene at 8:32 or 8:35. Let's make it 13 minutes. See you at Okay, it's 8:35. We're going to call this meeting back to order, and we will resume with item number 2, which is first reading on ordinance 02509-50. Councilman Alexander, I recognize you.
Just as I took a bite, thank you.
I think I heard you say, let's get this party started, so sorry.
No, that was me.
This is an ordinance appropriating $5,000 from the CSX Transportation Military and First Responder Grant. Motion to approve.
Fan.
Motion by Councilman Alexander, second by Councilman Juvance. Any questions, any discussion? This is first reading on ordinance 02509-50. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Does pass 6-0. Are you okay with voting for that, Councilman Fennell?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Item number 3 is first reading on ordinance 02509-51. Councilman Carter.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance appropriating funds for carryover projects from the prior fiscal year. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Carter, second by Councilman Juvance. Are there any questions, any discussion on this? This is first reading on ordinance 02509-51. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. I heard one aye, but no no's, so I'm going to say it passed unanimously. Item 4 is resolution R2509-58. Councilman Juvance.
Thank you, Mayor. It's resolution to approve official public works mission, vision, and value statement. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Juvance, second by Councilman Carter. It's resolution R2509-58. Any questions, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Y'all really got to speak up. Resolution, item number 5 is resolution R2509-59. Councilman Fennell.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an initial resolution authorizing issuance not to exceed $23 million on the general obligation bond. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilman Carter. Opening the floor for questions, discussion. Okay, this is resolution R2509-59. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Does pass unanimously. Item 6 is resolution R2509-60. Councilman Fan.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution authorizing the issuance, sale, and payment of general obligation bonds of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee in an aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $23 million and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of debt service on the bonds, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fan, second by Councilman Carter.
Mayor?
Questions, discussion?
Just to be clear again, this is mainly fire station and fire trucks.
No, there's quite a few, yes, the fire station's in there, and that's a lot of it, but there's some road projects and, but that's the bulk of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Park projects.
Where's some park projects? Okay, thank you.
One paper pulled up and one thing pulled up on my desktop. I'll get
I'm
there.
happy to read it out. It is for the purpose of financing capital costs related to the acquisition, improvement, and equipping of public works facilities, including without limitation, fire stations and public safety administration and training facilities, safety equipment and vehicles, including but not limited to fire apparatus, traffic signalization systems, controls, and related equipment installation, tennis court, parks, recreational and community facilities and equipment, including vehicles, technology equipment and related software, including cloud-based services used for city purposes, a public building for information technology and data management, and bond issuance cost.
We keep
Thank
it,
you,
and we
Susan.
keep it broad to make sure that we don't.
I like for people to hear.
Absolutely.
And that was
absolutely.
helpful, thank you.
You just passed $23 million.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, and we do keep it broad so that sometimes when something falls through, something else can fit the bill.
Sure. Thank you.
Bad use of word. This is resolution R2509-61. 60. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item 7 is Resolution R2509-61. Councilman Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with D.R. Horton Incorporated for the completion of banks at Lock 4 infrastructure to be carried out in accordance with the master development plan. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Alexander, second by Councilman Fan. Any questions, any discussion? Councilman Giovanni, you recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I think we should not vote on anything until the lawsuit was still going on for the Bank of Lock 4 is resolved. That's just my thing. And another thing, I kind of looked into it, and we're going to have to take land from people to be able to build all that, and I disagree with that. I don't think we should take land to build improvements were required from the developer. I think when we vote on things that say no person will benefit from the development to the detriment of others, and that's going to be the detriment to the people who own that land and where the land's going to be taken from them. So I'm going to have to vote no on that.
Questions, any discussion?
Is that eminent domain the only option? I mean, we can
No.
purchase this, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We try to avoid eminent domain always.
Okay, that is the plan. We don't plan to use
checking.
eminent domain.
Yes.
It's the last resort.
Further questions? Okay, this is Resolution R2509-61. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
It passes 5-1. Item number 8 is Resolution R2509-62. Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution awarding health, vision, and dental insurance contract for the city of Gallatin. Motion to move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions, any discussion? And my public apology to Michael and Kelly, who have sat here this entire evening, and we are very grateful for that. This is Resolution R2509-62. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Does pass unanimously. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your work on this. We appreciate what you do for us. Item 9 is Resolution R2509-63. Councilman Fan.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution amending the City of Gallatin Personnel Rules and Regulations, Rule 5, Section 56A, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fan, second by Councilman Fennell. Any questions, any discussion? Councilman Giovanni.
Thank you, Mayor. I just had a question because I don't understand why we make a difference. Human resource, we post the department head position, including a full job description for a period of 7 days internally and a minimum of 30 days externally. Why we do only 7 days internally? Is there a reason for that?
To my knowledge, that's just our normal procedure that we do for all internals. We do 7 days. I don't know if anyone from HR wants to. Doesn't mean that you can only, what they do is they send something out and it's posted. Of course, you would still have the 30 days that I think you could apply.
So you can still apply after the 7 days?
That's my understanding. Is that accurate?
Thank you. Anything you want to add to that?
Yes, although that internal is open 7 days, they have the entire 30-day window to apply.
First time on the podium. Cool. And I still think, because it's not in there, but I still think that should be announced here when there is a position like that. Because honestly, I didn't even know the position was open until I talked to an employee at the code, and I think that should be part of the announcement, should be here too.
Oh, to council, announce it
Yeah.
to
Can
council?
we just get a courtesy email?
Yeah, or something, you know.
Letting us know a department head is retiring or resigning or whatever.
With this particular one, they didn't necessarily want it too out there.
Okay. I had no clue. I was sitting here at the meeting, didn't know who
I
you
mean,
talked.
typically, it's not going to flow like that. Typically, it's
Okay.
going to be somebody leaving for a job and it's going to get posted. But you know, this was someone that we were trying to kind of hire before they were gone, and so that's why.
Okay.
This is resolution R2509-63, right? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. It is approved unanimously. Item 10 is resolution R2509-64. Councilman Carter.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution amending the City of Gallatin Personnel Rules and Regulations, Rule 16, Section 16-5. Not approved. Motion to approve, sorry.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Carter, second by Councilman Alexander. Any questions, any discussion? Okay, this is resolution R2509-64. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It is unanimously approved. Item 11 is resolution R2509-65. Councilman Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution amending the City of Gallatin Personnel Rules and Regulations, Rule 16, Section 16-1. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Alexander, second by Councilman Carter. Questions, discussion? Councilman Juvance.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I want to thank HR to put the survey together and to push it out because, again, I think when that was done, when that was removed from what we had before, I think that was a mistake, and we're fixing a mistake tonight, and that is great. And I think give employee who work on call and on shift a choice what they want to do with their holiday time. I think that's good. So I'm glad that came back.
Did you have a question?
I was just going to let people know that that's concerning the fire department holiday.
Helpful, thank you.
So
Yeah.
just so people know what these numbers are. In case
Especially-
you don't have 16-1 memorized.
Resolution R2509-65, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It is unanimously approved. Item 12 is resolution R2509-66. Councilman Fennell.
Yes, this is a resolution approving TIPS as a purchasing cooperative under the city's purchasing procedures. Motion to approve.
Again.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilman Alexander, I think. Juvance. Questions, discussion? Okay, resolution R2509-66. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Concludes the regular agenda. It brings us to other business. And Ms. Lyons, you have some items for us.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have two. I've got the first one is going to be a certificate of compliance for a wine in a retail stores. This is for MCM Market at 1421 Nashville Pike. They have submitted all the proper documentation and they have met all the requirements for the zoning compliance.
Where is 1421 Nashville Pike? No. What?
I believe that there's a representative here tonight, Mr. Haney. If maybe I don't. There he is.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Yeah, I was just trying to look that up. Where it
Could
was.
you tell
All in
them-
favor of suspending the rules, allowing for comment, say aye.
Could you tell the council exactly where your market is going to be located?
1421 National Bike, Gallatin City.
Can you say where it's
Where
near?
is that?
Like, what is it next to?
Quick sack up near the college.
And GMC.
Oh, okay.
Where?
Right, GNC, somewhere around there.
Across from Ball State,
Yeah, across the street is from Forest.
Ron Hubert Toyota.
By the
little
Toyota
lot.
dealership.
Yeah, that's one.
Right by Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, that's beside.
Okay.
Yes, sir, you're good.
Cheese with it.
All in favor of the,
Do we have a motion?
wait, yeah, do we have a motion to approve?
Oh, right, motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Carter, second.
Second.
Any questions, any discussion? Meet the criteria, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Abstain.
2 abstentions, so that would be 4 in favor and 2 abstentions.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to abstain from the total liquor thing altogether.
This is not for a liquor store, this is the wine and the retail.
just gonna
Abstain?
abstain.
Okay, yes, sir. I've got,
If we only have 3 people who can vote for it.
What do we got, 3 abstentions?
3 that are not voting, so.
It still prevails with 3
I'm
in favor.
abstaining also.
Huh?
I'm abstaining also.
So we have 2 in favor. Would it be a better posture for them to bring it back at least when we have, I mean, we've got to be able to approve these, y'all. This is a bit insane because this is pretty routine that we have these that we have to approve as a body and we can't have everybody abstaining, but would it be a somewhat better posture to defer it until
Motion to defer.
to the next council meeting?
That'd be fine.
Second.
I mean, I'm asking out loud. I'm not telling you what to do.
I'm sorry about what I done. I just always abstained from anything to do with liquor or wine.
You can defer a motion was already, because you voted on it. Didn't pass.
Well, okay, it passed with 4, and then there were 4 abstentions by the time we got through, which left only 2 people voting for it. And I just,
People voting, right?
Still have to have 4, don't you?
Well, it's those that are present and able to vote. You have to have a majority of those present and able to vote. So they are able to vote. They're not,
4 people are abstaining.
but they're not recusing themselves.
Oh, okay.
So they are able to vote because they are abstaining.
Okay, so that doesn't get
Didn't
it
pass.
passed. So it doesn't pass with that.
So it failed.
To remedy all kinds of unique situations. So we don't, yeah, so if 4 abstentions, we don't have enough people to pass it. So I think the proper thing is to,
It failed.
it fails.
I mean, it didn't pass. It didn't pass.
Voted on, it didn't pass.
But can it come back? I mean.
Yes, it can come back.
Okay.
Motion to, are the abstainers the prevailing side?
No,
I don't think that doesn't count as a vote.
I don't know.
some kinds of vote and it didn't
It can be
fail.
put back on another agenda.
I think the proper next would be for someone to make a motion to put this back on the next council meeting agenda. And I think that's probably true for both items. Again, I apologize for the people who've been here this entire evening.
Make a motion to put them next Tuesday?
No, next, well, can we do it in a work session?
I think we should do it at a voting meeting.
Voting meeting, some next council meeting.
I'd like to ask a question to Susan for legal.
Motion first.
Second.
Second. A motion is second, opening the floor for questions. Now you may.
Just as far as the certificates or liquor stores, do you have to be a United States citizen to be able to get a liquor license?
I don't believe so. I don't have the application, I don't believe so. And that is something that the ABC would, that the ABC would control.
Okay.
Danielle, do you have the
I know there's
application?
residency requirements, but
I don't have any of that in front of me.
I've been asked that several times.
okay, so we have a motion,
Motion to defer until the next.
motion is second to defer it. Any further questions about that?
On both items, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor of?
Well, you're not deferring this one, you're just, you've already voted, you're just putting it, you're there, it's a new
Okay.
motion to put it on the next.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to rephrase your motion.
Oh, I didn't make it. It was Paul. But he said, yeah, he did say motion to put it on the next voting meeting.
Okay, so we'll take this one first on, seconded by you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Okay. Okay, so there's 5 in favor of putting it on the next council meeting and 1 against.
And I'll say, Councilman Fennell, that's something I would have to look at.
Okay.
And then the next item is the certificate of compliance for a retail liquor store. I guess you can introduce it and they can make a determination.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor. All right, and then this is going to be a certificate or an application for certificate of compliance for a retail liquor store. This is Lucky Lotto 1, located at 661 West Eastland Street. They have submitted all the proper documentation and they have met the requirements of the planning department.
What was that address again?
This is 661 West Eastland Street.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then abstentions, please raise your hand. So I have 3 abstentions.
What's the motion?
To approve the certificate of compliance for the retail liquor store Lucky Lotto 1 at 661 West Eastland Street.
Okay. Yes.
What's your vote? Yes.
So I have 3 in favor and 3 abstentions. Still doesn't work, though.
Still not a majority.
So I would,
Put it on March 21st agenda.
March 21st agenda.
Second.
March?
March.
October?
I'm glad to see it's not just me, Councilman
My mind
Alexander.
on retirement.
October 21st. Okay.
It's been a long day for everybody.
A second on that? Is there a second?
Second, I got
Okay,
second.
second by Councilman Carter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Phew. Councilman Javance is against that too. So that was, Ms. Lyons, for the record, that was 5 to 1
Yes, ma'am.
against putting
Yes,
on the
ma'am.
next agenda.
Yes,
So that concludes the other business from her. I would open it up for other business from this body, and I do have 1 item. Anybody with other business this evening?
Oh, I do.
Okay, what's that?
Let's get yours first.
Okay, well, mine's kind of a fun thing, I think. Several people in the city have been working, looking at trying to kind of up our game with what our holiday decorations look like downtown. And they've worked with the city, they've worked with downtown Gallatin, really tried to think about what could bring some visitors down here during the Christmas time and help our downtown merchants, obviously. We are looking at spending somewhere around $100,000. We would like to use the tourism money for that because we do feel like we know that people go places for Christmas decor where they can take pictures and then when they shop and do those kinds of things. And I think especially with the events that are happening downtown during the holiday season, it could be really nice. Problem is, we're really pinched on time to get those decorations here on time. The mayor's office does have some money in the budget. It's currently designated for Nat Caldwell. And so what I want to get a feel from for this council is if we could use that money and then bring forward take it through the process to use tourism funds to fund those decorations, and then that would basically replenish. I mean, the dollars would not be specific, but to make sure that we follow our process, and that was.
$100,000.
That's what, it's going to be somewhere around there. I don't think we've made final decisions, and some of that also will have to do with what they can get to us in time. And it may be that we don't get everything that we want this year and we get some for next year. But I really do think it's time that we started improving our holiday offerings. Some of them are really dated. We've done a lot of improvements on our own. Public Works works so hard every year to do great with what we have, but I think if we made an investment in some other stuff, then we would have a far more picturesque downtown. And there are, in this consideration, there are several opportunities for like good places to take pictures and that kind of thing. So you can't vote on anything tonight. I'm just asking you how you feel about that. And
I'm okay with that. I think it's a good investment for tourism to bring people to Gallatin. Just tell them they can't move here, they have to go back.
come spend money, go home. So I will have that on the work session for next week, but I just wanted you to kind of get the feedback from this council before we move forward with that. And then any other, you had something, Councilman Fennell?
A policy. Now, I know that we kind of had a problem the other night with what was being put on the board. Should we discuss that? Do we have a policy in place? What's happened? I knew that there was threats of a lawsuit. Do we have a policy in place? I mean, I'm just.
We do not have a policy, and that has been, my issue, trying to, not put pressure on the technology person. If this body wants to make a policy, you can certainly do that if you desire.
I think we need to make sure that we got rules in place of what we can and can't do, or we don't have a problem. So can we put that on the agenda for the work session?
Can.
I think that's a good idea.
I would ask you to make that as a motion.
Make that as a motion.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions, discussion on that? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, I'm going to say it passes 5-1, which will be on the next work session. Okay, any other business this evening?
Paige, I had 3 calls from last council meeting, and I know this is kind of something you don't want to talk about much, but the homeless people, we had 3 calls about 3 or 4 different homeless people, and I don't know what we need to do, or if there's anything we can do, the legal process of it, or.
I mean, people say that it sounds insensitive when I say we need to contact law enforcement. Our law enforcement works really hard to connect people who don't have homes with resources. And there are some resources in and around the area. Certainly Councilman Carter is well aware of some of them. And our officers have worked very successfully with some of the people in our community.
And I tell them you can't be mean to them, love on them, and try to help them out, is all you can do, because they don't.
And, different people have different circumstances, and our police department does a great job of trying to help people, and we all want them to know what resources there are. But the thing that we continually bump into is that there are people here that don't have anybody here. They've been transient, they wind up in our community, and then they're looking for assistance, and sometimes the best assistance comes from someone who knows and loves you, but a lot of these people don't have that. So we try and help them, but keep them, they have to be respectful of the property that they're around, certainly, and understand when it's a concern. At least make me aware. If you don't want to be the person to do it, let me know, and I'll be happy to reach out.
To that point, do you think it might be a good time for us to possibly look at federal funding and maybe look at implementing like an office like Davidson County has? I know this problem is not as big as Nashville and Davidson County because they're huge, a whole lot bigger than Gallatin, but because it is a growing issue, and look at federal funding, because we can probably get millions of dollars in federal funding to implement an Office of Homeless Services in this area to look at, and then look at nonprofits to partner with, or look at, that office operating out of a hotel and housing them there temporarily to work on getting them document ready, which is all their things that they would need to actually get a house and to move in, and then look at partnering with different landlords and/or apartment complexes to get them permanently housed.
I know there are a lot of nonprofits doing good work, and I will always be a fervent supporter of nonprofits doing that kind of service in the community. Certainly, we don't, I don't know what kind of federal funds could be available, but I think connecting people with resources is always going to be our best path. So, I'm not saying I'd be opposed to it, but I have no idea, and I would suggest it could be that it's to the urban cores. Those could be large city grants. I just don't know.
Gotcha.
So thank you for that, Mr. Jones. Anyone else with other business? Okay, we're now going to go to public recognition on non-agenda related items. This is the time you get to come forward and talk if you have an item of concern that's not on the evening's agenda.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Cam Patel. I live at 421 Woodlands Drive, Gallatin, Tennessee. I have concern about, I'm qualifying for the liquor license on 661 West East Lane. Couple council member, they upstanding vote, I know, but one of the council member upstanding vote all the times and recusing himself, you know. So can I ask him why he's recusing himself? And before a minute ago, I asked him something, I shake the hand. He trying to treat me, say, if you talk about shit about me, and then I'll see you, you know.
I've lost you, and I don't know what you're saying, and I think I heard a bad word, and that's not okay.
Yeah, that's what he said that to me, you know.
Okay.
And I'm getting scared from him now because he's right here. He told me when I shake his hand.
Okay. Mr. Patel, I think if you have a concern, like I think you are insinuating that you do the appropriate.
As a council person, he cannot treat me like that.
If you have concerns about your safety, I would recommend contacting the police department. And if you have maybe what you're saying are ethical concerns, then
I don't know what he.
Then our attorney is our ethics officer for the city. But it's not appropriate to get up here and make accusations during public comment, which I'm not supposed to be responding to. But like I said, I heard an ugly word.
Yeah, but that's what he said to me. And I have witness. And he can pull the camera and listen if you can hear the audio.
What? Oh. I didn't understand what he was talking about. I'm sorry. So was it specific to one of these liquor certificates of compliance at the end of?
661.
Okay.
Before that, I just shake his hand, and I know, I'm just trying to say why he's recusing himself.
Okay, I think, again, this is public comment, so typically, and it's been a very long night, I would let you, speak and say what you wanted to say, but like I said, I heard an ugly word, which has made me go like, wait, what's going on?
From his mouth.
It does still doesn't need to be said publicly over.
I'm sorry for that, but I have to say what he said to me. So what is my safety?
So continue with your public comment.
I know, but that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so when I have to come back again, 21st, this is just compliance certificate. It's not like you guys approving my license. Now I'm qualifying for that, and you guys just holding against what?
The issue is we don't have, again, this public comment. I could answer this for you. Huh? I'm not commenting anymore, I'm sorry. I'll tell you after the meeting.
Thank you.
So, anyone else with public comment on non-agenda related items? I invite you to come forward.
He's also going to probably raise something that was on the agenda.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I forgot to explain to why I'm applying for the wine license. Because I'm just across 1 block away from the Circle K and Racetrack. Both of them has a wine license and sell it. And a lot of people ask me why you don't have it. You are a gas station and they are a gas station. So what's the reason for you don't have it? That's why I'm applying. I don't want to lose my customer. And I need your help to stay in business. That's all the reason I apply for the wine license. I don't need the liquor license.
Okay.
Just
This-
wine.
This is public comment, so we can't answer any questions. I can probably help you after the meeting.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anyone else with public comment on non-agenda related items? Seeing no one, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Motion, second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Thank you for your patience this evening.